Hi, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you one of the most important things that you will ever do in your lifetime, and that is to invest in yourself. My name is Gret Leach. I'm a former lawyer making my transition into my full-time purpose to help you to live a life full of inner peace, joy, passion and confidence by understanding who you are at a soul level and by reaching your full potential. I'm really excited to share this video with you because the things that can come, the amazing, beautiful things that can come from investing in yourself, you wouldn't believe, and I'm excited to share all of those experiences with you. Before we get into the video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button because it will help me to grow the channel and reach more people that need to hear my messages. Without further ado, we'll get into the video. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So what prompted me to do this video today was my partner, as he does, pulled another classic film out of the bag last night, something that he'd totally forgotten about. Bear in mind we've been together for 8 years and we love films, and he said you'll absolutely love this. It's an old film, it's from 1989 and it stars Kevin Costner, and it's called A Field of Dreams. And it's basically based on an old writer, W.P. Kinsella, and it's based on his novel called Shoeless Joe that was written in 1982, and it's like a fantasy baseball, like sports film. And so Kevin Costner, he is the son of John Kinsella, and what his greatest fear in life is not achieving something, so reaching a point where he dies and just not achieving anything in his lifetime. And he had a broken relationship with his father, where his father really loved baseball and wanted him to play baseball, and at the age of 14 they kind of became estranged and stopped playing together. And he actually told him a lie and said that he could never respect a man whose hero was a criminal, and he was actually referring to Shoeless Joe. And one of the things that he really regrets is not being able to reconcile after his father passed away, because his father passed away really quickly. And they lived on a farm, and they had these massive cornfields. And one day he was in the cornfields and he kept hearing this voice, and this voice kept saying, "Build it and he will come. Build it and he will come." And he didn't understand, and he kept speaking to his wife, and he's saying, "I'm hearing this voice, I don't understand what it is." And he kept listening and he kept looking into things, and he came to the conclusion that he needed to build this baseball field, and that it was something to do with Shoeless Joe. And so Annie allowed him to do it, basically at the risk of financial hardship to them and them losing the farm. And he built this massive baseball field, and he sat by the window each night just waiting and waiting. You know, it just sounded totally crazy. He didn't understand where it was coming from, but he just trusted this voice that he was hearing in his head. And then one night he was sitting there with his wife, and his wife said, "Look, you know, we're really struggling to pay the mortgage, you know." And he said, "Well, does that mean we're not going to be able to keep the field, keep the baseball pitch?" And she said, "Well, it's going to be really difficult for us to continue living at the farm if we do keep it." And their daughter kept trying to get their attention. Karen, she kept trying to get their attention, and he kept saying, "You know, wait a minute, we were talking." And she said, "But there's a man on the field." And they walked over, and there was a baseball player in the middle of this field, and they went out, and it was actually the ghost of Shoeless Joe. So it was kind of, actually I'm going to get to that bit in a minute. So they couldn't believe their eyes, basically. He was there, he came over, he was a ghost, and that was, you know, he'd all of the madness and the craziness of all these things and this voice that he kept hearing, something had actually come, the magic had happened from that. And as time went on, Shoeless Joe said, "Well, there's more of us. There's another 7 that are dying to come and play." And he said, "You're all welcome." And so in the end, there was all of these players on the pitch. And what led from there is a series of events and a series of synchronicities that he actually went off and found this other writer I'm going to go too deep into it, and obviously I only watched it last night, so what I would say is go off and watch it. I'm not going to go too much into it. But what happened after that was he then heard this voice in his head again come back and say, ease his pain. That then led him to go and find this writer, that then led them to a baseball game, that then led to some writing on the wall about another guy that had this wish, that wanted to play baseball, and that led them all back to the baseball field. And then he heard another voice when he was at the game with this writer that he'd gone to find, saying go the distance, which he didn't understand any of these things. He didn't understand what the voice was saying, ease his pain. He didn't understand what go the distance meant. But because he'd already listened to this voice and he'd already built the pitch because it said build and he will come, what actually that led to in the end was more and more people, more and more ghosts, more and more people that had died, or had died without achieving their wish, their dream. And it led all of them, by him making this decision to build this pitch, it led all of them to come back to be able to fulfill that dream and that wish. And what happened at the very end was Shoeless Joe said to this writer, come with us, come and see what's on the other side. And Kinsella, who was Kevin Costner in the film, said, well, what's in this for me? Why am I not being asked? And Shoeless Joe said, well, is that what you've done it for? You've done it for yourself. And basically they went off into the cornfields, and the reason that he wasn't asked to go was because his dad, the ghost of his dad, John Kinsella, then appeared on the pitch when he was a young man, when he used to play baseball. And so they got to talk, and he got to talk to his dad. And that time when they became estranged and they stopped playing catch with each other and he told him the line, he wasn't able to reconcile. He was able to do all of that again, and they played catch together. And the whole moral of the story is that he followed something. He followed what, and that was, there was a really important point at the end of the film as well. He turned round and said to Shoeless Joe, was that you? Was the voice you? The voice was you, wasn't it? He said, no, the voice was you, wasn't it? And he went, no, the voice was you. So that whole time, that voice that he couldn't understand, that he couldn't make sense of, was his intuition. It was something far more than the logical mind and the ego. It was something that was guiding him to be able to give back to all of these people, these ghosts that had died without making a wish, without fulfilling their wish, without achieving the thing that they wanted to achieve. And because he had so much passion and drive, he wanted to follow this through. He wanted to achieve something because he didn't want to be like his father, who died and didn't follow through on those dreams that he had. But also at the same time, he got to reconcile with his father, and that was one of the biggest regrets that he lived with. So it's a beautiful, beautiful film, and if you've not seen it, I really highly recommend that you go and watch it. And I think I'm going to read the book as well. And so this leads me on to talking about when you invest for the first time in yourself, it can feel very, very scary. And I remember the situation that I had was, I was at the point where I tried everything that I could myself. You'll know from some of my other videos, I tried absolutely everything. I went on to medication to help myself when I was really in the depths of anxiety and a bit of depression. I had CBT, I had counselling, I went to yoga, I meditated, I journaled, I did all of the things that I possibly could to help myself, which would provide me with temporary relief, but they wouldn't be a long-term fix. And it still just didn't change how I felt about myself. There was things that really were deeply rooted within me, like conditioning and regret from decisions that I'd made in the past, and all of the things, the trauma. And I was looking for somebody, but I wasn't logically looking for somebody. So I wasn't thinking to myself, I need a coach to help me. I didn't even know what a coach was at that particular point in my life, I'll be honest. I'd never even heard the term. Because a coach is more of somebody that's in a field of doing something in their way, or in a more holistic way, or in a more conscious way, or, you know, in a way that is entrepreneurial to them and their journey and their experiences. And I was on an empath group, and this lady was chatting to me on there saying, you know, well, do you know how to protect your energy? Do you know how to pull that power back? Do you know how to reclaim your power? Because as an empath, you're constantly absorbing people's energies. You know, you go through life being a massive people pleaser. And you know, she was chatting to me on there, and it went from there. And I was thinking, this lady's like asking me questions, and I don't know how to do these things. And anyway, she contacted me, and cut a long story short, we had like a discovery call, and she told me how much it was, and everything within me, something within inside of me was like, yes, this feels right. But I was absolutely riddled with fear and anxiety, and I didn't understand it. She lived in America, I lived in the UK. I didn't understand. I was fearful. I thought, is she just going to run and take my money? You know, nothing made sense in that moment, apart from something that was more of a driving force than my 3D physical biological spacesuit, which is my body and my mind and my brain. Something else was driving me in that moment, and it was my intuition. And like Kevin Costner in this film, it was his intuition. It was something else. It was another voice. It was something that was, whatever you would like to call it, your higher self, the universe, you know, whatever it was a driving force in order for him to follow through on achieving that baseball pitch, to then help all of these other people to achieve their wish, for them to reconcile with his father, so he could move on and be happier and get rid of that regret that he felt, you know, by not reconciling before his dad died. And it was the same thing for me. I invested, and it was the best decision. I can't even describe in words to you. It was the best decision that I have ever made in my whole entire life. I worked with her for like 4 months in a program, and then I went on to do another 4 months with that, and another 2 months after that. I did 10 months with her in total, because trust me, there was a lot to unpack with me. There was literally a lot to unpack, which I'm not going to go into in this video, because if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll see that I touch base on a lot of stuff anyway. But you know, there's a hell of a lot, and it has to be put into kind of separate videos. But that decision, that one decision that I made to invest in myself for that first time, changed my life completely. I got rid of the debilitating anxiety that I felt. I managed to accept and release all of those suppressed emotions from the past that I had around shame and guilt, about drug taking and the narcissistic relationship that I ended up in, you know, all of these things. It was about self-discovery. It was about finding out who I was again. And that leads me on to also that the most important thing in life is understanding who we are as a person, and going on a journey of self-discovery and healing. Because when we do that, we get to a point where we're like, okay, I've reached a point where I feel pretty much most of the time in my natural state. We're human beings, we live on the earth, we're going to experience challenges. You're not just going to arrive, I used to hear that so much, you're not just going to arrive and go, yeah, perfect, I've done it all. It doesn't work like that. It's a journey of something that you work on, the things that you know you need to work on to get to a state where you're living in a flow state most of the time. You come across something, a bit of a bumpy road or a challenge, you've got the tools to be able to deal with it. So when you say yes to you and you heal and you get to the point where you feel good, like I do, you've got inner peace, you've got clarity, you're just in a flow, everything's fine, you know, you're happy, your external reality is everything you want it to be, you then create capacity, you then create space within your heart, within your body, to be able to help other people. Now, when I first started out on my healing journey, and I did what I did for the first couple of years, and then I started my business, because I started my business about 5 or 6 years ago. I am happy, I am okay with admitting that when I first started my business, I was making it about me, and it was an unconscious thing, but it was about me, and it was about me trying to get out of my career that I was really, really unhappy in, so I could make money. And I wasn't so, of course I helped people, but I can look back now and see how a lot of what I wanted to, a lot of what I was doing and putting out there was to benefit me. But that was because all of that journey was still part of something that I had to go through to learn more about myself and the unconscious things that I was doing and how that was coming across to other people, how my energy was, how I was treating other people. And so that was still part of my journey when I thought, oh, well, this is my business, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to earn money, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get out of my job. But I didn't know that that was still part of the journey. But if I hadn't made that decision in the very first place to invest in myself, I never would have got to that point of starting my business. I never would have got to the point of making myself vulnerable and putting myself out there and charging too much to people or doing things that were out of alignment or listening to other people. You know, I wouldn't have realised all of these things that were going on for me. But now I've reached a point where I've gone through that journey. I'm at the point now where I can give and my heart's open and all I want to do is help people. And that is at the forefront of what I do, which is why I've started this YouTube channel, because I want to put so much content into these videos, as much as what I can, to help you watching this. Because I know that, you know, it's going to help you along the way and you're going to go, oh God, that resonates with me, or you know, she's been through what I'm going through. And then whatever comes from that in my business, it comes from that naturally. Like the end of the film, what happened was he did all of those things and it was at financial hardship to him and his family, and his wife's brother kept turning up and saying, look, you're going to have to sell the farm, I'll buy the farm from you so you can still stay here rent free, but you're going to lose everything, and he was like, we're not selling, because his daughter in that moment said, they will come. And he said, what? And she went, they're going to come, Dad. They're going to come from all over. They're all going to come because they all want to sit and watch the baseball game. They all want to experience what it was like back then in the 60s. They all want that experience and they're going to pay you. They're all going to come. And then the writer, he also was saying to him at the same time, they're going to come, people are going to come. And that's what happened. He didn't sell, he trusted again. He made another decision where he trusted. He trusted instead of getting tangled up in the fear. And they all came. People came from far away. They didn't know why, but they were drawn to it. They came, they wanted to sit and watch the baseball. They wanted to sit and watch the ghosts of the past. You know, Shoeless Joe and all of the other amazing baseballers and things like that. And they paid. They paid to watch. So it's all about making that investment in you. It has to start with you. You can't give to other people and make a difference in the world until you first give to yourself. You have to give to yourself. That is the most important thing, and that is the starting point. And you guys watching this, you are going to be going through a journey. You're going to be healing, you're going to be learning about yourself, and you're going to know deep down that you are here to help people in some way, and that's what you're here to do. And you're also going to feel some frustration, because you're going to feel frustrated because you know perhaps you've got leadership qualities, or you know you've got counselling qualities where you can help people, but you don't come across it from the right energetic state. And when you do try and be a certain way, or you want to say be what's the word, like you want to influence people and you want to help them, but you say things and it doesn't come across from the right kind of energy. It's because you need to look at yourself first. It's okay to know deep down that that's who you are, but if you're not, it might just be at this particular point in your life you're not meant to be doing that right now, because you've got other things to do first. You've got a journey to go on first, and that starts with you. That tagline of mine is the most important 4 words that you will ever hear. It starts with you. You have to make that decision. You have to say yes to you. You have to find the courage. You have to trust. You have to follow your intuition. Even when you don't understand it, even when you're going to have to, you know, invest monetary wise, even when certain people around you don't understand. And again, I've been through all of that with my partner. He will tell you, and I will just say this, I don't think the undiagnosed ADHD helped at the time, because I was literally trying to do everything. But a good chunk of the decisions that I made in investing in myself, particularly my first coach, were worth their weight in gold and was always meant to be. So I hope you take a lot away from this video today, and if you are stuck on the fence about investing in yourself, try and get out of your head and into your body and follow that intuition. Make that decision, take the plunge, just go for it and invest in yourself, because it'll be the best decision that you ever make. Thank you so much for being here again, guys. Again, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Please help me to grow the channel so I can reach more people that need to hear my messages. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Lots of love.